Welcome to Optimal Timelines. My name is Sean, and this is going to be your July 2025 tarot readings for your North Node by sign and house. Now, if you're new to my channel, the reason I use the North Node in tarot readings as opposed to your Sun, Moon, or Ascendant is that it's recognized in astrology your North Node is your North Star. It's what you're here to learn, experience, and master in this lifetime. So it's much more relevant to your everyday life and much more accurate in tarot readings as opposed to your Sun, Moon, or Ascendant sign. Now remember, you're going to want to watch two readings, one for your North Node by sign and one for your North Node by house. Now before we begin, remember, there are a lot of wild and crazy things that are going on in the world. But what we have to focus on is our personal path, not the collective path. Yes, the collective path affects us, but first and foremost, we have to make sure that our path is clear and direct because that's what we have control over. With that, I'm going to connect to the energies and we can begin. I call upon my spirit guides, guardians, and the wisdom of my ancestors to bring forth the information that's true and correct for all who see and hear these readings, that it may bring them the most beautiful, happy life possible and set them on their most optimal future timeline. So may it be. North Node in Aries and or the first house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you for the first half of July is the reversed Three of Wands. Now, the Three of Wands is a card of perspective. It's a card of projecting into the future or kind of dreaming our future into existence. But it's also, because it's one of the few cards where the character on the card has its back turned to us from our perspective. It's also a card of either needing to look into the past or you're ignoring things that are happening in your current life or in the past. And because it's reversed, when I saw this, I was thinking that what it's about for you, North Node in Aries, end of the first house, is there is some things in your life that you're not paying attention to or processing, or you're not seeing clearly or correctly. And you're being asked to really pay attention to what's going on in your immediate life. Because, for example, people get busy and they are looking at what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, and that's great to plan, right? But sometimes we're missing things that are happening right in front of us. And I think what you're missing is there's clues to your path and things that you need to pay attention to within your life. And not just kind of like, oh, well, like it's kind of like just turn the page, let's just wait, till tomorrow type of a thing. And so I think that's a big thing that you want to pay attention to is what's happening in your immediate surroundings in all areas of your life. Now we'll get some more clarity. We'll look at your timeline card. So you've got the Queen of Wands reversed. You've got the Two of Swords upright, and you've got the Page of Swords upright. Now, the Queen of Wands is saying, like, this is referring to your North Node in Aries and or the first house, because Aries in the first house rules all of the wand cards, okay, including the Queen of Wands. And this is a skill that's needing to happen because this is something where you want to have the ability to not overlook things that are happening around you. Like, for example, he didn't mean to say that, he didn't mean to do that, she didn't mean to say that or do that type of a thing, right? And it's paying attention. And what you want to do is you want to pay attention, but there's a difference in just observing something and then you want to have understanding of what's going on. So the reason I say that is because you've got this Two of Swords here, and you can see that this person here has their heart covered and crossed with the swords of the intellect and the mind, and also has her back to this body of water. And the body of water signifies our subconscious, our intuition, everything that the element of water represents. And so we could be like overlooking things in our life in that sense. Okay, so this is something to where you're being asked to do this. Now, also the Page of Swords here is again coming in as swords. This is a card of observance and vigilance. Okay, you could see the character on this card is holding they're ready, they're looking, they're using their mind and their intellect, but also their heart and their intuition, and they're combining that to see what's going on. They're being vigilant and saying like, okay, I need to process this. Okay, so as I said a couple of moments ago, there's a difference between just observing something and then it's processing it, right? That's what the element of swords, which is the mind, the intellect, it's processing what you see in order to understand it. It's not just a matter of observing that. And when you do that, there, as I said, I think that you're going to find that even sometimes to see things in our life that are difficult in relationships and our work situation, because it can be easy to just kind of, I don't really want to deal with that right now, okay? But when you deal with it, you're going to find that this could turn, that situation or the various areas of your life, turn them in a very, very good direction. Now, the reason I say that is based on your 2 advice cards. So you've got the Star card reversed and you've got the Devil card. Now, I always explain in my tarot readings, if you're a regular, okay, there's nothing to fear with the so-called scary cards like the Devil, Death, the Tower, okay? They're just representing energies that ebb and flow in our life, right? This is not talking about the literal devil or a demon, but what it represents is it represents obsessions, it represents fears and anxieties, or things even like addictions, okay? So it could be ways of we deal with life is because we're addicted to ways of being. When we get into patterns, okay, we get addicted to certain patterns, right? And so there's something that I think that this has to do with something that maybe you've been putting off, okay? Something you've been putting off, not wanting to deal with. Maybe it's in a relationship. Maybe it's, as I said, in a family relationship, a work relationship, something in your life. Even it could be for some of you like a health thing, okay? And just not wanting to deal with it. And it's something to where it's you need to kind of face that, okay? And that's what this Page of Swords here is saying. Now, the Star card's interesting because whether it's reversed like it is here or whether it's upright, it's a very positive card, okay? But the Star card, when it's in its reverse state, is like something karmic, good karmically wants to happen in your life. But you could be preventing it by not properly seeing what's going on, processing it, and then taking appropriate action. Because the most powerful person in our lives is us, period. I'll repeat that again. The most powerful person in our lives is us, because we're the ones that are making, we're making decisions, we are directing our future, we're processing what's happening to us, okay? So it's very, very important for us to make sure that we are putting in the effort to be the most powerful person and help us in the most powerful way. Now, what you want to do with this is just kind of look around in your life right now, the first 2 weeks of July, and see areas that maybe you've been not wanting to look at, or that you maybe have put off because you're looking in a different direction. Give it some attention, process it, and you're going to find, even if it's difficult to maybe deal with, once you do, you're going to see some positive results, okay? Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd just like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Taurus and or the 2nd house. Yeah, interesting. So there is this 7 of Swords here that came up, and it's reversed. And I feel like what the first half of July is going on is that there is a situation to where something happened that in the past, and you either are just going to find out about it or realize it, or it's going to come to your attention, or it's something that you know about, but it's still kind of was something that has its energy in the past, right? And it was something that could have been kind of, like maybe, sneaky and underhanded, or something that you just wasn't right. Like it could have been anything from a major transgression that happened, against you, or it could be, a minor one, okay? But it was something that there's a reason why it's coming up right now. It was something that, you maybe had to deal with at one point, and it's like it's resurfacing again, something that happened, right? And what you want to do with this is you want to like see it for what it is, but it's like the universe wants you to understand why it happened. Like it's not so much so it resurfaces. Sometimes things happen, right? And they come back into our memory, but we don't even ask like why it happened, like why this situation happened, what was my part in it, or what was the other person or people's part in it, type of a thing. And so it's going to come up this first half of July. And what you want to do is, as I said, process it to understand it in order to move on and move through it. Now, your timeline cards, you've got the Moon card upright. You've got the Queen of Pentacles upright. And you've got the Hanged Man upright. Now, we'll start here with the Queen of Pentacles, okay? This is referring to you in your North Node power, because Pentacles rules all of the earth signs, Taurus and the second house among them, right? And this is saying that this is something that's important for your development on your path. And the reason it's important is that it's the ability to move past and move through things. Remember, your South Node in Scorpio or the 8th house, that the negative side of Scorpio and the 8th house, it could be like holding on to things, holding on to grudges, or not understanding why something happened. Like that's the biggest tragedy, is like something happens with someone in a relationship or in a work situation or something like that, but then not even understanding why it happened. And that's like the biggest tragedy of all. And so this is part of your development in order to understand and process what happened. Now, the Moon card over here, this is the hidden element I was talking about, that new thoughts and ideas are going to come in about the situation. Something that happened in the past that was like, maybe underhanded or sneaky, and there was a situation, and maybe you didn't understand it or process it in the proper way, or you may need to let go of that. And that's what's coming up, is that there was a hidden element of this is going to be coming to light. There is something that you're going to be like, oh, okay, I didn't see it that way before, or I didn't understand it that way before, or I didn't process it that way. So it's like things that are hidden. It's like after the dark night, when it's dawn, things get a lot clearer in the next day. And so that's what this is saying. It's like hidden things coming to light. Now, the Hanged Man over here, this is a card of awakening and realization. It's also a card of perspective, right? That this is about understanding something because you're going to see something from a new angle, from a new perspective, okay? And that's why the head on the Hanged Man is illuminated, because the reason that he's hanging upside down with his hands tied behind his back and his one foot tied behind the other is because he's seeing things from a different way, in a different perspective, and he's not having to do anything. It's just a matter of observing it. He doesn't have to uncover things or dig around. It's just going to become this realization, and when it does, it's going to kind of open up this whole thing. The reason that this is important, because the big thing I'm getting from this is it's the ability to go through something, move through it, and move on. Like I keep getting that phrase, move on, move on. And that's important for your North Node in Taurus. It's like, remember, you're not here to like hold grudges and mull about things that happened, 3, 10 years ago, whatever. You're here to experience life, but you're here to experience all of the good things in life, all of the love and the pleasure of being in a human body, and just enjoyment of life. That's what you're here to do. But you're here also to be independent and strong. So what happens when we hold grudges, what's the thing that happens is we are not independent. We hold grudges sometimes, and it keeps us linked, even though we think, we might not have seen that person for 10 years, right? But when we keep ourselves connected because we haven't moved past it, then we're not independent. And so remember, that's one of the big words for your life path is independence. Now, the two advice cards are, you've got the Page of Swords reversed, and you've got the 10 of Wands upright. Now, the 10 of Wands, obviously, it's a card of carrying burdens, okay? But like I always explain with the 10 of Wands, the 10 of Wands isn't a negative card, okay, carrying burdens, because carrying burdens is important. We have to be able to do that. Like, it might be a burden to where a certain part of our life we have to get up and we're going to college or high school, or we're educating ourselves, right? And we're doing that to better our life. But it's a burden. I mean, we have to get up early. It could be in our career, in our job. We're trying to get promoted and we're trying to do something. So we have to like carry a burden. Even if whatever, every area of our life, we want to get better at something, even like at some sort of a skill. Well, it's a burden sometimes to carry, where you have to, practice something 8 hours a day in order to get it. Like, for example, just off the top of my head, you see an Olympic athlete that is really good at what they do. Well, they had to carry a lot of burdens. Okay, so there's good burdens and there's bad burdens. And what I'm seeing here is the difference that what you want to do is you don't want to carry this anymore, okay? Because it could be saying that there are things that you are carrying with you. You may think that you are away from it and independent from it, but when you really look at it, there's things that are still there. And so what's wanting to happen is you want to release this. You want to get through this and understand it, put it to rest, and kind of move on. And then this Page of Swords reversed is about it's about seeing things in a proper way. And this card is coming up a lot this month, okay? But this is about maybe you're not seeing things, you're not being vigilant and seeing what's really kind of going on. And, that's what I said, like, this thing is going to kind of come to light. It's going to come back in order for you to kind of finally put it to rest and move on. And so you definitely want to pay attention when it comes up, and not just say it comes up and then I'm just going to refile it back in that place deep inside me where it was, okay? You want to say, okay, now I'm going to deal with that. The file's on my desk right now. I'm going to deal with this, and then I'm going to close that file and I'm going to put it away for good, type of a thing. So yeah, so really watch this first half of July, what's coming up for you that could have been something that was difficult, something that had maybe a sneaky or underhanded element to it. And it's time to work through it and move on and put it to rest. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal reading based on your astrological chart, or if you would like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Gemini and or the 3rd house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you is the Fool card reversed. Now, the Fool card is misunderstood by a lot of people, especially people that really aren't familiar with the tarot. People, because we use the word fool, we call someone a fool, and that's like a negative connotation. But this card is not negative. The Fool just simply means this is about like like enthusiasm and exuberance, and like looking at life like, all of us have had that time in our life when the world was ahead of us, and it's about this childlike wonder. It's also a card of like new beginnings, where we're going off into the world. It could be when we embark on a new relationship, and everything is just like roses and sunshine. And as I said, that's an important part of life. But we all know that the negative side of that, the reason the fool is called the fool, is because it could also mean being naive, right? And so that's what this card means. But it's also a card of journeying, because as I said, it is a card of new beginnings. And when I saw this card for you, I was thinking that a lot of you are either contemplating or needing to maybe look at the direction that you're heading in some area or multiple areas of your life. To just maybe, and it doesn't necessarily mean like completely, abandoning a path, right? Because, sometimes when we, look at things like, some readers say it's like black or white. It's not a matter of moving forward or backward, because we could be heading on a path, but we might just need to make an adjustment. So it could be a slight adjustment, but it is a change in path. So for each of you, it's going to be different, and you have to kind of figure out whether that means a drastic change in direction or just some, minute kind of directional changes, right? But I'm feeling like the first half of July, you're wanting to look at where it is you're headed and why, and kind of like observe that, because I feel like some adjustments are needed on certain areas of your life and kind of where you're headed. Now, as I said, a lot of you may already be thinking about, yeah, I need to make some changes or, kind of adjustments, right? Now we'll get some more clarity. We'll look at your timeline card. So you've got the Page of Cups upright. You've got the Four of Swords reversed, and you've got the Six of Swords reversed. So starting with the Page of Cups over here, this is a card of emotional playfulness, and it's tying into the Fool here. It's saying that the reason that this is important, because a lot of you are not certain parts of your life trajectory and path, they aren't necessarily maybe feeding you emotionally, or this wants to come in more, this kind of I'm feeling like this emotional flexibility and playfulness, because sometimes when we make these like changes in our path and our direction in our life, it can fulfill us more kind of emotionally. But this card is also talking about, the Page is also the youngest of all the court cards. So sometimes it's referring to, an actual like child in our life. But in this case, I think it's also referring to that kind of like childlike wonder. Like there's something that, and I think we've all experienced this in our life, where maybe we've, kind of got stagnant in certain areas of our life, and we've done something new or went into a new direction, and all of a sudden we were just filled up with that kind of energy that we had when we were younger, when the world just like looked so like open to us, type of a thing. And so I think that's what's wanting to come out. Basically, the directional changes that you need to make are going to be something that is going to excite you, not from an emotional standpoint, and feel your heart, okay, and not just like mind. Well, I'm going to go to accounting school, and I'm going to learn to be an accountant because it's a good, solid career path, and it's going to give me a good retirement. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're an accountant or watching, some people are really into, I know some personal accountants that are really into it, but I'm saying don't go into something, or don't change your path because it makes sense necessarily. We make the changes that are really going to kind of feed you emotionally. Now, the Four of Swords here reversed this is saying that, this is a card of coming out of a period of stillness, okay? So there's a time to kind of be still and stay put, and, like just meditate and stay on the course we're at. And then there's a time to kind of wake up and move through things. And so again, I think that this is about, you kind of this first half of July waking up and seeing like a new direction. The other thing is that this is also a direction card. So this Six of Swords, you could see here that the people on this boat are moving in a new direction. They're moving away from things in the past, possibly troubles, and they're going off into a new direction. But because it's reversed, again, it's saying like there's a need to check your course. Like, are you really headed in the direction that's best for you? Is it going to fulfill you? Is it really going to bring you what you want, type of a thing? And that's what these cards are saying is it's time to change directions, but make sure that, if where you're headed now and where you're going to head is going to be something that is going to fulfill you. And the key here is, again, what it is that is truly going to make your heart and your soul kind of happy. Now, this is also being shown in your advice card. So you've got the Page of Pentacles and you've got the Star card upright. Interesting, the Star's coming up a lot this month for a lot of the North nodes. And it's a card of karmic action. It's a card of, this is part of your path where it's like a pivotal point right now. Like what I feel like is the changes in direction that you decide to make in an area or various areas of your life are going to have these echoes or reverberations into your future. It's something very, very karmic that wants to happen. And it's like about you investigating, okay, what is it that I really want to do that is something that it may not make total sense to my logical mind, but it's something that I want to pursue. Again, that's what this page is saying, is that along with the Page of Cups here, this Page of Pentacles is saying like, how do you know if you're on the right path? You have to find out what it is you truly want, what it is you value. You can see the pages holding the pentacles, which refers to everything of value in our life, not necessarily physical things, our time, our health, our relationships, anything of value. You have to find out like what it is for. I'll give you an example. Okay. Let's say that what's truly, truly important to you in your life is to have the best relationships in your life possible. Okay. And what your mind is telling you is that, okay, I'm going to get this promotion and I'm going to become vice president of this company. And it's taking you in a direction where you're having to work 60 plus hours a week. You're missing, birthdays, you're missing get-togethers with friends and family, okay, whatever. Now, there's nothing wrong with taking that path. But it's really, if what you're really here to do and what you really want in your soul is to really have the most positive relationships possible, right? That might be kind of counterproductive. Now, at the same time, let's say what you're truly here to do and what you want to do is you truly want to own your own company and you want to be a CEO, and that's really what's part of your path, or you want to have this success, okay? Well, I mean, look, I got news for you, okay? Nobody that really, became super, super successful just worked 40 hours a week, okay? And as again, there's nothing wrong with that. You have to find out what it is that you truly value, what it is you want. And so it's about making the choices that are in alignment with your values, what it is that's going to feed you. There's no wrong path. We need all paths in this lifetime. But you have to find out what it is that your path is, okay? And a lot of times, let's face it, like a lot of times people are going in a direction or making decisions that's completely opposite of what they truly want to do. Why did they do that? Well, it's because it's like I said, maybe they're thinking about, oh, well, maybe I'll do this and that's going to make me happy. And but we really have to find out, go back to that core. of when, you know, you were younger, like what it is that you truly know. I get it. You know, we have responsibilities. Okay. You have to have a balance. Okay. Obviously you just can't abandon your life and, you know, go off into, you know, Europe and become an artist or whatever. I mean, we have like responsibilities, right? But what I'm saying is there's a balance. We can start moving in a direction that is truly going to feed us, whatever that is. Okay. And when we do that, you're going to see that there's something very karmic in there for you. So pay attention this first half of July, because you're getting these messages in order to change or tweak your direction. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd just like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Cancer and or the 4th house. Okay, so the theme card that popped out for you is the reversed Ace of Wands. Now, Wands cards are about a lot of things. They're about the element of fire, but they're about energy and inspiration. And I feel like that there's two things that this is talking about. A lot of you may have been feeling lately like either like a lack of energy or inspiration, or the other thing that this is meaning for a lot of you is that it's the energy you're putting in areas of your life may be misdirected. Okay, so what do I mean by that? You know, when we are doing something, we are in a relationship, we are at a job or a career, or we're doing things in our life, we're directing energy toward whatever that is. Okay, friendships, as I said, relationships, work, all of that. Okay, but there's things that are called, there's something that's called misdirected energy, which if we go back, we look at areas of our life that didn't pan out, right? Certain relationships with, you know, friends, family, you know, intimate partnerships, certain careers, career paths or jobs, right? We began that and we were putting energy, and it may have been misdirected, because if we had a crystal ball or a tarot deck, you know, maybe we could have, you know, discovered that, okay, we're putting energy in the wrong direction. Okay, we're feeding into something that isn't going to kind of pan out. And that's what I'm feeling like a lot of you, that, you know, you could be feeling like that lack of energy and inspiration because, you know, your soul, your intuition is telling you that you might be putting your energy in things that aren't good, and we don't discover that until later, right? We don't see it until it's played its course out. But a lot of times we get the hints because within ourselves we can feel something is not right. So it could be like, you know, if we're feeling like we're at a job or a career that it's not really feeding us, or it's really bringing us down energetically, right? Well, that's a clue that, hey, you know what, maybe I should like look and go into a different direction. Okay, so I feel like a lot of you are kind of doing that. But let's kind of hone in and get a little bit more clarity. We'll look at your timeline cards. Okay, you've got all pentacles here, right? So you've got the 7 of Pentacles upright, you've got the 9 of Pentacles upright, and you've got the 10 of Pentacles upright. Now, each of these cards is representing a kind of different area of life. Now, each of these cards may apply to all of you, or some of you may, you know, some cards may apply to only some of you, right? But I think the majority of you are at least going to have multiple cards in this area. Now, what does this mean, right? Starting with the 7 of Pentacles. Okay, this is about investing. You know, you can see that there's a gardener here that's leaning on their garden tool and looking at these pentacles, waiting for something to grow. He's put the energy into cultivating something in his life. What is it? It could be like furthering his education. It could be, you know, starting a business. It could be waiting for, you know, he's putting his energy into a relationship or relationships, and he's waiting for it to grow and reap the benefits. When we put our energy in a good direction and it comes to fruition, we get the payoffs. You know, you're in a good relationship and, you put the energy in with that person, and then all of a sudden, whatever, a certain amount of months and years down the road, you're like, wow, like I'm really glad that I put energy in that relationship because it's really been amazing. But you don't see the fruits of that until later. Okay, so this is about, where is it, do you need to direct energy or go in a new direction? Where is your energy going regarding your personal relationships? Are you putting enough energy into that? Okay, and it's important with your North Node in Cancer, right? Because it's all about relationships and being vulnerable and opening up your heart, type of thing. Now, the other aspect of this, these timeline cards, is you've got this Nine of Pentacles. Now, this is about putting energy into things that you enjoy, things that feed your soul, and that, it's about the enjoyment of life. Do you need to put some energy into, your pastimes, your hobbies, investing in really enjoying life and making sure that you're enjoying, like, good food and good times, and it's living a rich life. You don't necessarily have to be wealthy to live a rich life. Okay? Yes, material things help, right? But there are people that don't have a ton of material things, but also live a very rich life, because it could be your relationships bring you, happiness. Just living life, your time especially is really important. But what I'm seeing here is that, there could be areas of your life that are going to help inspire you, because maybe it's like learning that instrument that you've always wanted to learn, or painting, or and delving into that artistic area, or a sport of some sort, or learning something like you've always wanted to, learn martial arts or whatever it is, right? So that's what this is. This is about investing that energy and time into something, that is going to kind of feed your happiness, and, as I said, feed your soul. Now, the Ten of Pentacles is, this is about family legacy, right? You can see here that there's, like, an older person here, there's children here, there's a dog, there's middle-aged people, there's, and this is about your family legacy. So it's like, it's about directing energy, like, do you need to feed more energy into those aspects of your life, into your family, your close relationships, your friendships? But the thing I'm getting for all of this is that overall, because they're all pentacles, this is all enriching your life. But not only just, enriching it on the non-physical level, but I really feel like this could actually enrich you in the physical way, which we're talking like monetarily, okay? Because it's like when we get that inspiration back, and our energy starts to increase, because we're feeding areas of our life that need to be fed, right? And I think that if you've been feeling like you're a lower kind of energy level the past, like, several months or weeks or whatever it is, it's because it's your internal self, and your higher self is telling you, hey, what you're doing is not really kind of feeding you, it's not inspiring you. Okay, so it's time to redirect that energy into a different direction, into maybe one of these areas, or all of these areas. Your two advice cards are, you've got the Page of Swords reversed. Interesting, this card has come up a lot this month. And also you've got the Two of Swords upright. The Two of Swords is saying, like, look, both of these cards are your advice cards. You're not seeing things in your life that you need to see in order to do that. What do I mean by that? It means that the way you're going to find the direction to take, and where you need to put your energy, is you definitely have to open up your heart. You have to open up your intuition. You have to listen to yourself, not your mind. Okay? And that's why the swords are about the intellect, but the swords are blocking the heart, blocking your instincts, your gut instincts. There's a blindfold, they're blocking your intuition. So you don't want to think about the direction of where you need to go, but you have to feel into it. Okay? What is it that is truly What are your instincts telling you? What does your heart tell you? What does your intuition tell you? Okay, that's how you're going to know where to put the energy. And then the Page of Swords reversed. This is a card of observation. It's a card of being observant and vigilant into seeing things in the proper way. But because it's reversed, there could be things that you've missed, like little clues that you've missed. So it's really important the first half of July. What I'm getting is be observant. What is life telling you? What is your internal instincts and your intuition telling you? Pay attention to that, because I feel like there's messages that are trying to come in. Don't ignore them. So you don't want to go back into the Capricorn South Node, or 10th house South Node. You want to stay in that fourth house in that Cancer North Node, right? You want to say, like, I'm going to think outside the box. I'm going to feel outside the box. I'm going to use my heart and my soul and what it's truly telling me. And it might be in conflict with what your logical mind and thinking, has to say. But remember, you're on the right path when you begin to feel the energy in your life. We've all experienced that, where we've changed a direction in our life and we've done something new, and all of a sudden we have this influx of energy in our life. That's how you know you're on the right path. If it feeds your energy in a positive way and you kind of get out of that rut. If it's something that is keeping you in low energy and low vibration, it's something that's not for you. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd like to just show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. A North Node in Leo and or the 5th house. Okay, interesting. The theme card that popped out for you is the Queen of Swords. And I feel like this card has a dual meaning for you for the first half of July here. Now, as I always talk about, the court cards in the tarot deck, which is the King, Queen, Knight, and Pages, they can be energies, or they can also be actual people in our lives, or even us. So it could be actual people. So I feel like this has a dual meaning. I feel like on the one hand, this Queen of Swords is talking about your South Node in Aquarius and or the 11th house. But I also feel like this is an actual person in your life. Now, they may or may not be in Aquarius or have a lot of, planets in the 11th house. But what it is that this person is acting like to that effect, or they're triggering you or some way that's keeping you in your South Node and maybe preventing you from fully stepping into your North Node in Leo and or the 5th house. So it's a person that maybe they're, could be something like, wait, why are you doing that? That doesn't make sense. You're supposed to be with us over here, and you're supposed to do this. There's rules and regulations. Why are you trying to go off? And remember about your path, right? Leo North Node, or in the 5th house North Node. This is a path for you to separate from the pack, from the group. It doesn't mean cutting yourself off. It just means separating yourself, okay? It's like, think of, if you are, thing that popped in my mind is like, you think of a play, right? Or like a musical, okay? There has to be the lead actor, or there has to be the lead in the musical, right? Someone has to do it, but they're not separate from the group, okay? But someone has to take the lead. This is what it means to be in your life, is that you're not supposed to be just part of the cast. You're supposed to be the lead in some way, okay? That doesn't make you better. It just means that's your role in this lifetime, okay? Your role is to step out, to be recognized in some area or areas of your life. That could be in families, in organizations, careers. It could be in some way, you know, one of the things that we always talk about with the North Node in Leo is it's like the star North Node, okay? It means that, you know, if you look at a lot of people that become very famous, a lot of times they have a North Node in Leo and or the 5th house. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone is supposed to be famous that has this, but what it is in some way stepping out from the crowd. Now, that could be when you have this North Node, it's very scary because a lot of times I've heard this from like clients, you know, over the years that have a North Node in the 5th house or Leo. I don't want to step out from the group, you know, and this has to do with that South Node. So I feel like that's part of this energy that's going on. But this person, I think that they're a person in your life that maybe could be keeping you like, I don't want you to step out. I do, you know, and they're not doing it on purpose. It's just like drawing you back, like, are you sure you want to do this? Or it's nice and safe over here, you know, and so you're being asked to do this. The first half of July is really kind of step into something that is making you stand out. It could be something you think about, but you're kind of like conflicted, right? Now we'll get some more clarity. We'll look at your timeline card. So you've got the 7 of Pentacles upright. You've got the Strength card reversed. And you've got the Page of Wands reversed, okay? Now, the 7 of Pentacles, what this is saying is that I think that this is an idea. I think all of you that are watching this video have an idea or ideas that you want to do in your life. You want to go in a certain direction, okay? So you have this idea of something you want to grow, whatever that is. You know, for each of you, it's going to be different. But it's something that is, it could, the people around you, work relationships, you know, family relationships, intimate relationships and partnerships, the people around you, you might feel like, you know, they're not supporting you in some way or whatever, or you don't even want to tell them, okay, because it feels, but you have this idea of something, some area of your life you want to grow. Okay, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. And maybe you've even tried at certain times in your life to like step out and it hasn't worked out. And that's very common. You know, you sometimes have to do things a few times before it kind of clicks. But that's what this Strength card reversed. If you look at this card very carefully, what is this card? You've got a maiden who very lovingly is subduing this lion. Well, wait a minute. North Node in Leo, Leo the lion, the 5th house, okay? This person, this is referring to this person over here, this Queen of Swords here. The person that this is talking about isn't doing it on purpose to hold you back on purpose or make your life, they're you know, not, you know, holding you back or making your life not good. They're not trying to do it on purpose. They think that they're being loving. We see this a lot where we see parents that, you know, they call them like helicopter parents or whatever, you know, that they make decisions in for their children because they care about them too much, but it could be like overprotective or whatever. So I think that this person, they may think about, or it also scares them, this person, it scares like, I don't want, I mean, we've seen this played out in lots of movies and stories, right? Where you have the parent that, you know, we've seen this archetype where I don't know, no one's good enough for my son because, you know, they're my baby, right? But the real truth of the matter is that they feel that if the son meets somebody and they fall in love, that the unhealthy side is that they're not going to love their mother or father, you know, as much, okay? So we've all seen that played out in characters. But this is what I'm talking about, is that there could be people in your life that don't really see it because they don't like want you. They might even feel scared for you or whatever, but there also could be some selfish motives in doing that and kind of keeping you, because they might not even be aware of it, but they're just like, well, if they go off and do that, where am I going to be? What's my life going to be like, and they don't even know on the conscious level that it's kind of like being selfish. Now, this Page of Wands is interesting reversed here, because wands are about energy and inspiration. And I feel like this has two meanings, that this is referring to the inspiration that you've felt all your life, especially from a young age, of things you wanted to do, but maybe weren't able to fully do for whatever reason. Maybe part of it is feeling like the group is holding you back, or some area of your life is holding you back. But this also is referring to like ideas and inspiration that I feel like maybe when you begin to step into your power and step into that Leo North Node, or North Node in the fifth house, it could be like that's when, naysayers say like, are you sure you want to do that? Like, what are you going to do? Like, what if, what if, what if? And then it just kind of kills the inspiration. So one of the things that's important is, I think it's really important for Leo North Nodes to find what they truly need to do, and they have to stick to it. But a lot of times, don't tell the people around you, if at all possible, okay, until you get well established, because it's a phenomenon. It's called the dream killer phenomenon, okay, and it's very real. When there is, and again, we're going to talk about seedlings here, okay. When we have an idea in our life that we want to do something, it's like this little seedling that's very delicate, and that, a bad storm or like a pine cone could fall on it and crush it. This is referring to our dreams and our desires and our true path. We have to wait till that seedling really takes root and gets bigger. And so what can happen a lot of times is, again, not on purpose, but we could all of a sudden say, I'm going to do this. And you tell someone in your life, and then they're just like, I don't know about that. And it's like, I know we've all experienced that. And you tell them, and they don't even know that, for whatever, they have their own reasons for maybe naysaying, and that's fine. But you tell them, and then it's like, and it's like so deflating. So it's really important when you have this North Node to do what you need to do. Hold your dreams close inside you until they really get strong and take root, when nothing that anyone says or does is going to kill that inspiration. Now, your two advice cards are, you've got the Knight of Wands upright, and you've got the King of Wands. Okay. The first step to remember, now, what do these mean? Okay, this is obviously referring to you stepping into that North Node power, okay, of Leo and or the fifth house. Okay, the wands rule all of the fire signs, all of the element of fire, and so that's Leo is one of them. But the difference between the reason that the Knight is upright and the King is reversed is because before you can become the King, you have to be the Knight. So that means that you don't want to jump ahead too quickly. And that's why I also said you don't want to, and you might not see the full finished path. That's what the King, reversed King, is also saying. But you want to just begin. The Knight is on a quest. You begin this. You go from the Page, which is the inspiration and the ideas, the Page of Wands, and you become the Knight, which is a card of movement, taking action. Okay, so you have the idea and the inspiration, then you begin to take action and move forward, keeping it to yourself but moving forward, but not realizing that the end path, not worrying about, well, what's going to happen, blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. You're only worried about you need to worry about what you need to do right now. You don't need to worry about 6 months or a year, okay, down the road for where you need to go. Just take it one step at a time and don't jump ahead, because again, that can also be a dream killer, because then you start to wonder, again, Aquarius, well, wait, I don't know. How is it going to work out? I don't know. Just think about every successful person, okay? Every successful person in any area of life that you've ever read about. Do you think that they really worried about what was going to happen 5 or 10 years? Or did they just do it? They took one day, every day, boom, they just took the next step, the next whatever. They kept moving. They didn't worry and stress about what the end result was. And that's what this is saying. But look, remember, Anyone that has a North Node in Leo and or the 5th house, you are given the gift of being able to step into success in this life in whatever area you choose, wherever your talents are. But remember, you have to do it. You have to get on your horse, have the idea, and start moving toward it. And again, watch out for the dream killers in your life. They're not doing it on purpose, but it's very hard to break away from the pack a lot of times, okay? But this is what you need to do and take on that leadership role. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd just like to show the channel some love, there's some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Virgo and or the 6th house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you is the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Now, the Wheel of Fortune reversed is a card that is actually a positive card because, but it's about cycles in our life, right? That there are up cycles and down cycles. But remember, the wheel is always turning in our life, and it always wants to keep turning upright. So if we are in a down cycle, it always wants to work its way up again. Okay, and so a lot of you, you're in the process here of coming into an up cycle, and I say that because of this Queen of Wands. I can see what we're going to get to in a minute. So I feel like, you may have gone through a cycle of like some difficulty in certain areas of your life, maybe multiple areas of your life. And there could be some things where, things weren't working out. But I feel like you're on the verge of this new cycle. Remember, one of the things that you're here to learn is when you have a North Node in Virgo and or the 6th house, you're here to bring your experiences down to earth. Bring your experiences from your rich past life, which you have, but bring it into the practical use. But also experiences in this life, like, from years ago. You're here to learn from your experiences and actually, bring them into practical value, okay, in this life. But what does that mean? That means that, in order to have a rich life of experience, it means we have to experience lots of different, cycles of ups and downs. In many ways, the North Node in Virgo or the 6th house can be a very, very challenging one. And it's because most people that have this North Node have had past lives that were very, very rich in experiences of all kinds. And also in this lifetime, they've had a lot of experiences. So they naturally have like this kind of inner wisdom. But the difficult part is that it could be hard to make sense of it for them. Okay, but you're on this kind of new path that's wanting to peek ahead. Now, I think a lot of you can kind of feel that, and we're going to get some more clarity with your timeline card. So you've got the 2 of Wands upright. You've got the Lover's card reversed, and you've got the Queen of Wands upright. Okay. We'll start with the Lover's card reversed, okay? Because what's happening is that there could be, for a lot of you, you've gone through this period of time where the Lover's card doesn't necessarily mean romantic relationships, okay? It's a bigger card than that, okay? Yes, it can mean that. It can mean romantic, intimate partnerships. It can mean relationships of any kind. But it's also a card of our relationship to ourself, okay, to all sides of ourselves, and our relationship to life, okay? And so a lot of you are coming out of something where you might have dealt with something either in the recent past or in the far past, and definitely in past lives, where you've had to go through, as I said, these cycles of kind of up and down type cycles. But what's happening is a lot of times, like the thing I keep kind of coming back to is, think about every time that we've gone through something difficult. Now that could be, the ending of a, relationship. It could be the ending of a, job or career, or some other thing, or like ways of being, relationship to something in our life, right? Think about, even though how difficult it was, if you look back, a lot of times it's like you step more into your power afterwards. Like after the healing happens, something happens that is difficult, but then you come out on the other end stronger. Now, you don't see it at the time that you're coming out stronger, but that's what happens in our life with different cycles. So I feel like for all of you, you've gone through these cycles. You could have gone through some really difficult things in areas of your life that relate to the Lover's reversed card. Everything, as I said, from relationships to jobs or careers or things like that. And it's getting you to step more into your power. But every time for your North Node, when you go through something, you are learning from this experience. A lot of people say with this North Node, they're like, I don't want to learn anymore. I don't want to learn. And I get it. It could be really a difficult thing. But at the other end, there's a reason that you have this path, is because you have one of the most important North Nodes in the whole zodiac, because of the fact that you're here to ground experience and help people around you understand their experiences because of what you've gone through. Now, the Two of Wands here is saying that really, like, well, I'll hit the Queen of Wands here too, is that, after this downturn that you've experienced, right, when you start to have the upturn in your life, which you are right now, you're going to feel this new kind of energy and inspiration that's going to feed you. Okay. And I feel like what you're going to do with that is, you're going to put this energy, because wands are about energy and passion and inspiration. You're going to start to use it in a practical way. Virgo, 6th house. You're going to start to work with this energy in this practical way, and you're going to put this energy to use. And the reason is because the aftermath of this is it's helping you see your world in a more clear way, to see your path in a more clear way. Like, there's a certain amount when we go through difficult things, for all of us, right? After you heal and you kind of go through it, there's a certain clarity and cleanness that happens. It doesn't always happen, because that's why sometimes we hold on to things, and that's why people don't heal. But a lot of times, especially if enough time has passed, it gives you this clarity, and it gives you this real clear path of what your world wants to be. Okay. And so what's going to happen here is, after you have this upswing that comes in, even if you went through something very difficult in the recent past, it's going to give you this clarity. And what you have to do is, you want to make sure that you are putting that energy into like productive means. Now, let's look at your advice card. So you've got the 3 of Cups reversed, and you've got the 5 of Pentacles reversed. Okay, so the first thing that you want to look at here with this 5 of Pentacles is that for all the 5 cards in the tarot are positive, because all of the 5, when they're reversed, the 5 cards are challenging all of them when they're upright. Because this is reversed, what's wanting to happen here is, the advice is that don't look what happened to you as a negative. You have to let it go. The difficult times and challenges that you went through, it's important that you have to let it go. It was an experience, okay? It was an experience of life. Recently, this is what comes to mind, and I'll explain this, because it's one thing to say, like, you have to release it, but let me give you a practical like piece of advice here. Okay, just recently I was sitting with a friend, and we watched a movie that was very heart-wrenching and sad. Okay, it really brought on the waterworks. Okay, but if you think about it, does anyone want to live in a world where there are 0 like sad love songs where there are zero stories of people that went through pain but overcame it at the other end. We don't want to, we say we want the perfect world and the perfect life, but we really don't. We don't want to live in a world that's sterile where everything is perfect every day. Like we want it, but we really don't want it at a deep level. So the thing is, there's a certain beauty in those sad love songs. There's a certain beauty in going through that. And that's what I'm talking about, is that, you know, if we hold on to things like, you know, if you go through something that was difficult and you allow yourself to heal from it and you look back at the experience, and if you can say like, wow, okay, that was an experience, and it's like your story can be inspiring. See, like when we don't go through it, when we're watching a movie or we're reading a book and it's like really affecting us, right? It's not really affecting us because we didn't go through it, but it's the story. We don't want to live in a world without those stories. So what I'm saying is that you have lived and you are living through the story, and you have the ability to rewrite the story. You don't want to stay in the despair. You want to say, okay, you want to go through the other side of it, okay, and realize it was just an experience. It was just a story, okay? And that's how you heal from it. Because as I said, nobody who's watching this video wants to live in a world that doesn't have deep, rich experience, which includes sometimes like sadness and difficult times. Okay. That's really one of the keys in life to understand that. And I struggle with it myself. It's hard because on the one hand, we want the perfect life, but on the other hand, we really don't, because life would be boring and there wouldn't be these rich stories. Okay. Now, the Three of Cups is saying again, um, this is a card of celebration. And one of the things that you want to do is you don't understand that if you don't make sense of your experiences, you won't be able to properly help other people, which is one of the things you're here to do, which is to bring your experiences into the real practical world that can help people. For some of you, it might be like, writing a memoir or a book, or putting it into a fictional story, or just when you're talking with people, they can relate to your experiences, okay, in some way. And so by you not understanding why, or finally processing, okay, I went through it, it's an experience, I'm going to file it away, and I'm moving on. When you don't do that, then you won't allow yourself to help this to be healing, to others. Because if you have this North Node, your experiences have the ability to help others through their downturns, through their Wheel of Fortune when it's reversed. This is one of the things you're here to do, okay? Remember, Virgo, the 6th house, it rules the healer. So it's one of the things that you're here to do. So this is just kind of in a small way putting in perspective the bigger picture for you, okay? Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value, and I thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd just like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. North Node in Libra and or the 7th house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you is the Four of Pentacles. And, Pentacles rules everything of value in our life. Yes, from the obvious, like, money, property, finances, investments, and so on. But it's everything of value. It's our health. It's our relationships. It's our ways of acting in the world and how we value ourselves and others. So there's many aspects that the Pentacles bring up. And what I'm thinking of for the first 2 weeks of July is that there are things that you are holding on to that part of you wants to let go, but part of you can't let it go. It's things you're holding on to. And you're doing it because it's like a way of protecting yourself. And here's what I mean by that. Sometimes it's hard for us to let go of things in our life, like situations. And I think in this case, we're talking about something or some things that have happened. And so we hold on to them. The reason that it can feel like it's a protection for us is we feel like if we let it go, it's going to weaken us in some way. Okay. Now remember, with your North Node in Libra or the 7th house, you have that South Node in Aries or the 1st house. And the last thing that you want to ever feel is like weak and not powerful. But one of the things you're learning on your path in this lifetime is that many times it's the more powerful move to be able to work things out or let things go. Now, it's easier said than done, and we're going to get some more kind of clarity on this as we go through it. But there's a lot of times in life where we have to kind of move through things. But it seems like it's a protection for ourselves. Like if we give in, it's making us less powerful or less strong, okay? But in many times, as I said, it's quite the opposite. So your timeline cards, you've got the Page of Swords reversed. You've got the 5 of Swords upright. And you've got the King of Swords reversed, okay? So a lot of swords, swords that rule the element of air. It also can rule conflict, okay? We're going to start with the 5 of Swords. I feel like you're dealing with a situation or situations that you're holding on to, that something happened to you that was not fair. It was not right. It could be something that someone did or said to you. And I feel like it has like these echoes from the past. So it could be something fairly recent for some of you, but for all of you, it has these echoes of the past where it brings up a lot of other past things that may be from this same person or people or from other people, but it's kind of like bringing them up again, because a lot of times things we go through kind of trigger old memories type of a thing. And so I think that, this what could have happened was things that were said that weren't nice. There could have been some sort of a conflict, and it got, quite honestly, like I'm feeling for a lot of you, this was something that kind of got ugly and made you not feel great. Okay, so the first 2 weeks, this is kind of coming up again in some way, and the reason I say that it can have this weakening effect is because with this Page of Swords, the page cards a lot of times are referring to younger people, okay? Or they could be a person that is inexperienced or naive. I feel like when this happened, what you felt like, even if it happened when you were an adult, okay, it felt like you were taken off guard, like you were feeling like a child that doesn't have experience in something, when someone betrays your trust or something to that effect. So it felt like you were being taken advantage of in some way, and like you didn't see it, because the Page of Swords is about being vigilant and seeing things and being observant. It's like you didn't see it coming, and that made it kind of hurt all the more. But what's happening with this is this is making you into a person that you truly don't want to be. Not only from your standpoint, but actually from your path. Your North Node path in Libra or the 7th house is not a path to hold grudges, and not a path that is to hold on to conflicts, okay? But this situation is actually making you, and not forcing you. What I mean is it's triggering you in a way that is making you into a person that you don't want to be, okay? Now there is a way out of it. I think this is going to resurface, and I feel like it's something that you can work through it, but it's something that has to happen, because this is going to kind of keep coming up through your life, where things happen and you feel like you have to do something about it and you have to put your guard up because, you do that in order to stay and feel strong. But there are other ways to feel strong. Now, your two advice cards here, you've got the Four of Swords. Again, swords. We have all swords here, okay? But this is reversed. Four of Swords reversed. And we've got the Seven of Swords upright. The way to handle this is that there is a middle path. A lot of times, people think that if you're not going to make one decision, okay, on this side, you have to go to the complete opposite side. That's not true. The middle way is usually the best way. What I mean by that is, let's say you have the one pillar, like if you think of the pillars on the High Priestess card, you've got the black pillar and the white pillar. If you go too far to the side of the black pillar, you're not going to enter through the gates because you're going to come in contact with the black pillar. Now, the answer isn't going to the complete opposite because, again, you're going to bump into the white pillar. But it's that middle ground. So what does that mean? That means that you have to find this middle area in order to navigate situations like this. And that's where this Seven of Swords is coming in. A lot of times, this card can mean, sneakiness and underhandedness. But it's also a positive in some instances, and in this case it is. What this means is this could also be being clever about something, being very kind of strategic in things. So like when we have a choice, something happens to us, and we can either take an extreme action, hold on to grudges, go into battle mode, okay? Or we can do the complete opposite and be complete pacifists and like just, okay. So you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to just say, let things go. But the middle ground is to be clever, which is the true art in this. And this is what you're learning. You're not learning to leave completely your warrior mode strength. But to be clever is the Seven of Swords, is how when someone does something to you, okay, now it's time to strategize. You know you have to take action, but you don't want to bring like a cannon when all you really need is a fly swatter. Okay, that's the extremes on both sides. You don't want to just have zero response, or you don't want to have a cannon type response. You want to just find that middle ground, be strategic. So what I feel like is that this situation and situations as they come up, you want to count to 10 because your initial reaction is going to be to bring that cannon out, but count to 10 and then think about how can I respond to this, and I can still exert my strength, but in a way that is strategic and clever and, using your wits, okay? And this Four of Swords is saying, like, again, it's reversed. It's not saying to sit idle and allow, something to happen. It's saying you definitely have to take some sort of action, but you want to make sure that the action is intelligent and clever and strategic, right? And that's a great skill to have. The benefit of that is many times in life, we have to respond to things. Sometimes it is, good for us to like let things go. That is true. That's one of the skills you're learning. But in some instances, you can't just let something go. So you have to learn a good way. I guess you can look at the subtle art of making strategic moves or dealing with a difficult person or, situation. And again, when you learn that finesse, there's not just two ways to respond, not at all and with a cannon, but you got to find those middle ground. And so whatever this is for you, as I said, it has these kind of echoes from the past. You need to learn how to do this, because this will help you feel strong, but it'll give you the skill set to where it won't allow you to make you into a person that you don't want to be, which is, it could turn you into someone who is constantly, having anger issues regarding this situation or situations like it, or, holding grudges, or, kind of being cold and cutting out your, kind of your emotional realm. Okay. So this is a skill set to definitely work on. And whatever this is for you, just remember, try to find that clever, strategic way. Remember, it doesn't necessarily have to be, a battle between knights. It can be like a chess game, right? And you can win at this, but you have to use that kind of cleverness, all right? Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd just like to show the channel some love, there's going to be a link in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Scorpio and or the 8th house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you is the Nine of Swords reversed. And what I'm feeling like for the first half of July for you North Nodes in Scorpio or the 8th house is that you're coming into, most of you coming into this period where you're solving many areas of your life where I feel like you're going to be like less anxious, less worried. You're kind of going to, some things in your life, I think that like more than one area in your life is going to start to feel better. And you could have one main area in your life that you're feeling anxious about or having a lot of worry or anxiety. And I feel like there could be multiple areas where it's getting better, like you're kind of figuring it out. I think it's because you've done this work where you've looked at these areas of your life and you've faced it bravely. Like I feel you've all been kind of taking at least one area of your life where there was some difficulty, and you're able to look at it honestly and bravely and say, you know what, I'm going to deal with this. And when you begin to deal with it, it begins to solve yourself. Remember, this is a lifetime for you to kind of dive into issues and not walk away from issues, to investigate things within your life, within your own self and other people, and your relationship situations, your work situations. And when you face them, even though part of you says, I don't want to deal with it, but when you face it bravely, you begin to see that the universe really has your back and kind of helps you solve these issues. Now, some of the areas that you could be dealing with is family. Okay, so we're going to look at your timeline cards. You've got the 10 of Pentacles reversed. You've got the Page of Wands upright, and you've got the 8 of Wands upright. Now, the 10 of Pentacles, this is referring to family. In some cases, it could even be organizations, because you see like there's a family structure a lot of times is like a company structure. So you think of like the CEO or like the bosses or like the parents and so on. But I feel like for most of you, this is kind of a like family situation, very personal. And it could have been giving you trouble, like something that goes back for some of you for years. Others, it could just be something that is, kind of fairly recent. And you've kind of been able to kind of go in, investigate, and understand it better. But the thing about this is that when we dive into issues in our life, we don't always like solve them. It's not always like, and they lived happily ever after, the end. Okay, you get what I'm saying? Like a lot of times we can dive into things, and the reason that they get solved is because we get to come to an understanding about the situation. And a lot of times it may not be the ending or the way we wanted it to go, but like we can't always expect everything in our life, especially relationships with family, friends, work relationships, intimate partnerships. We can't expect them to, like I said, have this, they lived happily ever after, and then the end. Sometimes we have to say like, and they continued to work and, live their life the end type of a thing. And it's an ongoing thing, and we have to be okay with that. But it's easy for all of us to say, like, we always want to just like fix things, wrap them up in a bow and finish them. And like, life's not like that a lot of times. Sometimes it's like this, we can't let the situations drag us down. Sometimes we have to just say, okay, this is the way it is right now, but I have to live my life. And I feel like a lot of you are kind of learning to do that. You're just like, okay, like basically it's like the saying, it is what it is. Okay, we've heard that a lot of times. And then you have this, the Page of Wands and the Eight of Wands. I think that what's really important for you is to always remember that your natural instincts, the energy that you are picking up from other people, from situations, from the world around you, okay? You always have to trust your instincts, because your North Node in Scorpio or the 8th house, you are one of the most instinctual, I would say also like Aries in the 1st house, but for sure, you're one of the most instinctual North Nodes there, okay? Where you, because of your natural detective and investigative, skills, you're able to really read behind the fog and beneath things and really see what's going on. So this is what this Page of Wands is saying. The Page of Wands is saying, like, trust your instincts, trust the energy. Like, what are you picking up? Not from your mind necessarily. You're going to use all of your faculties to figure out things, but especially the energy. And so you might say, okay, like, I finally understand the energy of this person in this situation. I might not be able to do anything about it or change it right now. So I'm not going to waste my energy. I'm going to say, okay, it is what it is again. And you just kind of, but you're worrying about your energy field. And then with this Eight of Wands is saying, like, okay, now I'm moving on. I'm moving on. I'm not necessarily abandoning that situation, that relationship, whatever, but I'm not going to sit there and let it hold me back. And so I think that's what a lot of you are kind of feeling. You're saying, okay, this is a work in progress type of a thing. And, again, it is what it is, but I'm going to just continue. I'm not going to let it bring my energy down. But always remember, the energy that you are picking up, the vibes, okay, that you're picking up the frequencies are very, very important for you. And always trust them, because you know what's up, okay? You know what's going on. Now your two advice cards are, you've got the Wheel of Fortune upright, beautiful card, and you've got the Lover's card reversed. Now, I think for some of you, we talked about families, right? I think for some of you, there's going to be this thing where this could have to do with intimate partnerships, okay? Again, not everything gets solved overnight, okay? Sometimes it takes a while, and I feel like what you want to do is realize that if you're dealing with an intimate partnership or someone very close to you that this is relating to, right? That is a difficult situation. Don't try to necessarily, fix it immediately, okay? Again, as I'm saying, I feel like there's something to where this is a work in progress. It's going to take time. It's just like, think of what your work is, okay, in this lifetime, being a North Node in, Scorpio or the 8th house. A detective or an investigator or a researcher, all of the things that apply to your North Node, not necessarily in career, but you're the natural researcher, the natural investigator or detective. They don't solve their cases or research or overnight. And that's what this, intimate partnership thing is saying that it's an ongoing, research. It's an ongoing investigation. Keep it going. Don't necessarily abandon it. Don't get frustrated. Just keep working on it, and over time it's going to solve itself. And the reason I say that is because of this Wheel of Fortune here upright. You're coming into essentially what one of the main things of your path is, which is stepping into your personal power. Okay? That sounds easier than it really is. Okay, stepping into power can be very like scary. It's also something to where, you know, it takes time and it takes energy, but you are stepping into your power, because one of the key things in this lifetime for you is power structures, your personal power and self-esteem, how your power and other people's power, you know, is interacting with each other. Okay, so it's all about power dynamics in this lifetime for you also. And I think that you're learning to come into that, and that's what's helping you move through this. But remember, what this reading is saying is, whatever the issues that you're dealing with, okay, do not try to necessarily solve them or get frustrated because they don't get solved right away. It's an ongoing thing. It's a work in progress. At the same time, don't let it hold you back. Don't let it give you anxiety, stress, or hold you back in any way, because you want to just move through it and keep living your life. And just remember, okay, we're going to work on this, and you'll eventually get to the point where it either for sure is going to get solved, or you realize that it can't be solved, some other change. But you get to that point, okay, where it just takes a period of time and work and investigation, and you're going to find that this is part of you kind of embracing and kind of stepping into your own personal power. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Sagittarius and or the 9th house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you is the 5 of Wands reversed. Now remember, all of the 5 cards, when they're reversed, are in a positive state. When they're upright, usually there's some sort of challenge in the 5 cards. And the 5 of Wands is like, it could be like conflict, competition, battles either internally, but a lot of times they're basically with like other people in situations. And because this is reversed, I feel like this first half of July, a lot of you are going to have this breakthrough where there could be a situation or situations where you were like involved in something. It could be, now this could be work, family, friends. It could even be in intimate partnerships. But I feel like there was like multiple people involved, like more than one or two people. I feel like it's multiple people involved. And the feeling I'm getting is like, I think we've all experienced, have you ever like been in a situation where it could be just like, debating or arguing or bickering with like a few people, or you're involved in some sort of conflict, right? And all of a sudden, for whatever reason, you just back out, just walk away and say, you know what, I'm out, type of a thing. We've all experienced that. I feel like that's kind of what's happening is you're realizing like you were involved in this thing that was going on. It was some sort of like conflict, and it's getting resolved, not because the situation is getting resolved, but I feel like you're saying, I'm not going to put energy into that anymore. And as I said, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are like leaving the people involved in that, but you're just like, you're going a different route. Now, this is very good for you because, your North Node in Sag and or the 9th house is like, it's about you kind of being the person to, go out on a quest and find your truth and your path. And it's like a lot of your life, if you look back, your path has been very sticky because it's always involved a lot of people dynamics around you. And you're realizing like, okay, now it's time to like, what do I need? What do I need to do? Now your timeline cards are kind of bearing this out. You've got the Knight of Wands upright. You've got the Page of Swords upright. And you've got the Wheel of Fortune upright. Okay, so starting with the Knight of Wands, this is referring to your North Node in Sagittarius and or the 9th house, because all of the wands are representing the element of fire. Among the fire signs is Sagittarius, right? And so this is you. This is a card of, as I said, you're moving out, you're finding, you're not wasting your energy in whatever this is, okay? You're able to like, okay, it's time for me to move away. I have to find out what I need to do kind of, for myself. Now, as you move away from the situation, what you're being asked to do is keep your guard up. You know what I mean? Like, back out of the situation. Don't just like completely ignore it, even though you're kind of moving away from it. This is a card of vigilance and, watching your back and kind of making and keeping. I guess what I'm feeling here for this is you're not in keeping yourself involved in the situation, but you are paying attention to it, so you know what's going on as you're walking away. And you'll get to a point where you'll be far enough away from the situation, or enough time will happen where you don't have to do that. And again, this is about kind of, you have this thing inside you right now that is a seed that you've always had since you were very young, which is to find, your truth, your true path. It's this thing that's been inside you. But it's been difficult because it always seems like there's other people or situations that you have to take into account. And I think a lot of you are realizing, no, I've got to do this like for myself. It's time to like move on. And again, with this Wheel of Fortune, it's a beautiful card. I'm seeing this card a lot this month, actually. This is a card of, like you're in, by doing this, by standing into your power and having the ability to walk away from a sticky situation, you're actually helping your fortune. You're actually creating your future. You're creating your best future. And I'll give you a little tip, okay? The way the future unfolds is it's not set. We actually create our future by what we're doing, saying, thinking, feeling, reacting, acting in every moment. That is changing the parameters of the future as every moment when we make this decision. So when you make this decision to say, I'm not going to waste my energy, I'm going to do what's right for me, you're literally changing your future. Now, your two advice cards are, you've got the Four of Swords reversed, and you've got the Six of Swords reversed. This is a card, the Six of Swords reversed, is saying that there is the possibility for some of you to get sucked back into that situation, or situations, could be multiple situations, where someone will do something or say something and then you get involved. You're being asked, don't do that. When you walk away from a situation and you feel like you should, don't allow yourself to fall back into it. And that can be tricky sometimes. And that's what this card is saying, is that, if it's upright, you're moving away from troubled issues and you're moving on to a better day, to new shores, right? But when it's reversed, that boat could go turn around and go back. Okay, so you're being asked, make sure you don't get re-involved in situations that you need to like walk away from. And then this Four of Swords reversed again is saying that you definitely, what can happen a lot of times is you can, when you walk away, it could cause you to be like still, or like not make a move in a different direction. You definitely want to follow your instincts and move in a direction that you're really feeling you should. If you find yourself like leaving a situation or extracting yourself from a situation, but you're not going anywhere or doing anything, you're just like not involved in that situation anymore, you have to ask yourself, okay, I need to like now move in a direction, because it's really important for you and your path to always be like moving forward. Remember, the planet that rules your north node, Jupiter, is a planet of expansion. It always wants to expand. So you don't want to stand still. Jupiter is not a planet that likes to kind of stand still. So if you're leaving one situation, you're not going to just stand idly by, but you want to like reinvest that energy and move in a direction that you find in your heart of hearts is your truth and your true path. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd like to show the channel some love, there's going to be a link in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. See you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Capricorn and or the 10th house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you is the 10 of Cups. And this is a card of emotional fulfillment. Now, yes, it does show this like, happy family with the rainbow and 10 cups. It doesn't necessarily mean, family. Okay, this card could come up for anybody, that has no family, that is living by themselves or whatever. It's basically a card, as I said, of emotional fulfillment. And you're coming into this thing that's really important for you this first half of July, where a lot of you are having the realization that, in order to make your world the best it can be, is you kind of have to be the one to do it, if that makes sense. You see, one of the things when you have a North Node in Capricorn or the 10th house, or a North Node in the opposite side, Cancer or the 4th house, there's lots of things that have to do with family and especially parental children relationships. Okay, so everyone that has, as I said, a North Node in Capricorn, 10th house, or Cancer in the 4th house, there's always like issues a lot of times with parental structures growing up. And one of the things that you're learning, and I think a lot of you are realizing, is it's like you're realizing that maybe you didn't have the best situation growing up in the family. It wasn't ideal, or there were, lots of issues with that, okay, when you were a child. But one of the things when you have this North Node in Capricorn or the 10th house is it's almost like what I see a lot of times with clients is you're learning to parent yourself. You're learning to be the parent that you never had, or something better than what you had, type of a thing, okay? If that makes sense. And that is really difficult because we're like, well, how can I be the best, strongest person? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a parent. What I mean is that you are becoming the strength that you didn't have. You're becoming the support structure for yourself that you never have. You're becoming the nurturer that you never had for yourself, okay? Even if you're single. So I'm not saying, but it's called like growing into, parenthood. Now, again, this is really strange because it seems like, how can I, if I didn't get the nurturing and care and love growing up, how can I give that to myself? And it's a very kind of mysterious thing, but it is like stepping into your power. You're realizing that, you have to be that for yourself, and in many cases, for others. We'll get some more clarity. We'll look at your timeline cards. So you've got the King of Wands reversed. You've got the Wheel of Fortune upright, and you've got the Judgment card upright. So starting with the King of Wands, okay, the King, Queen, Page, and Knight cards, the court cards, can be actual people in our life, or they can be energies. In this case, this is representing an archetype energy. Okay, it's reversed King of Wands. This is about this is like the benevolent ruler, but that was flawed. Okay, this can represent a parent, whether it be a father or a mother, sometimes even, an older sibling or whatever, but someone important in your life. For most of you, it's going to be a father or a mother. And they weren't perfect, okay? They made mistakes. They might have had a lot of issues for themselves. But what you're trying to learn to do is for you to be, as I said, the benevolent leader, the strong benevolent leader and support structure that you never had. And you're realizing that you can do that. You're realizing that finally, okay, look, if I'm, whatever I'm going to do in my life, I'm going to have to do it. Okay. It doesn't matter. Yes, it really is not great that you had situations that happened to you growing up and in the past. Yes. but the only person that's going to get me out of this is me. And so having that realization is super important. Again, it is not easy, but you have this wheel of fortune here. And literally when you kind of get this and realize, even if it's at a small scale where you're realizing, look, I'm not waiting for anyone else to come and save me. I'm not waiting for anyone else to tell me what to do or to nurture me and all that. That's all great. You can still have that in your life, but you have to give that to yourself and allow yourself to have that. And then what I find a lot of times with clients is when they have this North Node and they begin to stand in their own power and step into their power and become the strength and the nurturing that they never had, what ends up happening is it literally changes their life around. And then the weird thing is that they end up in the end getting that from other people. They end up getting the nurturing and all of that. They don't have to be that for the rest of their life. But again, this is about stepping into your power, and being the person that you never had when you were younger. Okay, and that is it's a strange dynamic, but it's super powerful. Now, the Judgment card here, this is about like a wake-up call, and I feel like a lot of you have been getting clues. If you step back, first and foremost, this is going to be something that within the first 2 weeks of July, you're going to be getting strong messages of what I'm just telling you, where you're getting messages like, okay, I need to do this. If no one's going to do it for me, I have to do it for myself. But I think if you think back, you're going to realize, I've kind of been getting these hints from the universe. Maybe it's something you overheard. Maybe it's, something you watched, a video. But if you look back, you think like, yeah, I've been kind of being urged to do this. And you might have ignored it before, okay? But I think a lot of you are kind of like, when you finally get it and you're realizing, look, I can't change the past. I just have to worry about now and fix now so I can move into my best future. And that's what this kind of wake-up call is, which is what Judgment is. Now, your two advice cards are interesting. You've got the Two of Wands upright, and you've got the Queen of Pentacles reversed. The Queen of Pentacles, again, along with the King here, is referring to maybe the feminine side of that parental structure, okay? And when we look at a lot of times, we look at when there's issues with parents. It seems to me in all the years I've been doing readings and working with clients, it seems like the pains that a mother relationship can bring seem to run deeper. And that makes sense. I mean, because look, yes, both, fathers and mothers are important, true, but there's just something about that, mother-child relationship. I mean, they literally, gave birth to us, right? So there's something to where, you want to pay special attention, because some of you may be watching this and maybe, you grew up with a single dad, and maybe your issue is with the father, okay, which is this reading is saying. But a lot of you, there could be this issue with the mother relationship, particularly with nurturing, right? Because you've got this Queen of Pentacles here. If that's the case, pay special attention and special care, because it runs very, very, very deep. And in order to nurture yourself, you have to realize that your worth as a person has to come kind of from within you. Everybody that has this North Node in Cancer and or the 10th house has some really beautiful things inside them. Okay, you have your South Node in Cancer, very sensitive, South Node in the 4th house. And that may not have been honored, but you have the ability to give that to yourself, to be kind to yourself, to nurture yourself. And that's the difficult thing, is that particularly the issues with mother relationships can be very, very difficult to kind of overcome, but pay special care to that and attention to that. Now, this Two of Wands is saying, you could see that the person's here is standing on the battlements and dressed in fine clothes and looking out, but they're holding a globe. They're holding the world in their hands, right? And what this is literally doing is, what you want to ask yourself is, it doesn't matter what happened in the past. Okay, this person is looking to the future. They're living in the present and looking toward the future. What kind of world do you want from here on out? Okay, we cannot change the past. We can't change what happened. Okay, so we have the choice of just letting it affect us our whole life. Okay, we have free will. We could do that. Or we could say, okay, it happened. All right, I am going to be the person that I never had in my life. I'm going to be that person, and I'm going to give that to myself, type of a thing. Literally, when you do that is when your world begins to change. Okay, and you get this wheel of fortune, and you could see that by doing that, you will actually, in the end, the better you do that, you can actually get that within your life. The more you do it, the more you give it to yourself, the more it will come from outside sources for you. So anyway, yeah, very, very powerful first 2 weeks of July. I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, or if you just like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Aquarius and or the 11th house. Okay, interesting. The theme card that popped out for you is the Two of Wands reversed. And what I'm feeling like for the first 2 weeks of July, a lot of you have been dealing with the overall kind of feeling is there are areas of your life or your world. You could see this person has the globe in their hand, which is symbolizing, our personal world. That's why it's like small, because we have a collective world that we all live in, but we also have a personal world that we live in, all of us. Okay, and those are very different. My personal world is very different from yours and other people's. Okay, but as I said, we share this kind of collective world. And a lot of you have been dealing with the fact that, like, your personal world, it's not really flowing, or it's not meshing with the world that you want, or connecting with like the outer world. When, they talk about people being in the flow of things, tapping into that flow energy, it's usually one of the things that is indicated is that their personal energy is in alignment with the energy of the universe, which you could say like the universal energy. So actually there's like three worlds. There's like our personal world, there is the collective world, okay, of humans, but then there's the energy, the universal world, which is the true, universal energy. There's things that we personally want, there's things that the collective wants, and then there's the, universal energy, okay? So when we are aligned with when our personal world is aligned with the collective and or the universal energies, that's when we're kind of in the flow. But a lot of you have been feeling like it's not like working, like there's some things that are like you don't feel like you're kind of in that flow. Now, the good news is I think that this is all going to begin to change. There's things that are coming to light this first 2 weeks of July that's going to help you understand to get your personal world more in alignment with the collective and, more importantly, the universal flow of energies. We'll look at your timeline cards. We'll get some more clarity. So you've got the Moon card reversed. You've got the King of Wands upright. And you've got the Hierophant upright. So the Moon card reversed is what's happening the first 2 weeks is there are things that were hidden from you that are now coming to light, things that you didn't see before. It's like there was like a veil covering certain things. And you're really you're realizing things not only about yourself, about other people, your relationships, your life in general. There's going to be these realizations and things are going to come to light, which is going to be like this kind of game changer. Now, the King of Wands here is referring to, this is your South Node in Leo and or the fifth house, okay? And one of the things that everyone that has this North Node in Aquarius in the 11th house comes into this lifetime very used to kind of having your world be the most important world, okay? Now I relate to this energy because I have my fifth house South Node, okay? So what I mean by that is, imagine that you are a emperor, empress, king, queen, something to that effect, right? In a past life, right? And you come into this lifetime, and when you were in the past, your world was the world. I mean, it was what it was. You know, it's like you were the ruler, right? Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you were a king, queen, etc. in a past life, but it means that your world was of great importance, and other people paid attention to that, right? And so you didn't need to worry about if you were in alignment with the universe or whatever, because it was like your will. In this lifetime, what's really important is you still have that kind of need to make sure that your world and your energies are made important. But a lot of times when we have this like North Node in Aquarius or the 11th house, it's a struggle because they're not, our world is not in alignment, as I said, with the universal world or the collective world. And so you're having this realization where you're learning, okay, like what adjustments do I need to make? And that's like the key word, right? Where, okay, I'm not going to take away any importance from myself, but I also have to make other people as important. So instead of making yourself less important, what you're doing is you're just bringing, people up. You're saying, okay, well, what are the needs of the people around me in my relationships, at my work, or whatever? So the collective, right? What are their needs, and how can I align myself with that? Now, then you take this a step further, okay? Because you've got the Hierophant over here. And the Hierophant is about higher consciousness. It's about our belief system. It's about higher education. It's about, personal philosophy, okay? Now, how this really is representing the higher energies. You could see here the Hierophant is like a pope or a priest, right? And they've got like, two like lower priests down here. And if you notice here, here's a little tarot symbolism. You see the two keys down here, right? The two keys is that when we connect to the higher consciousness, it's giving us keys to the kingdom. It's giving us keys to the higher realms of consciousness. So when we begin to ask ourselves this simple question, okay, I know what I want in my world, okay? And then you ask the next question is, how does my wants, needs, and desires and what I want, my world, how does it align with the collective, people around me? Then you ask that third question that opens the last door, which is my will and what I want in alignment with my true path, what I'm really here to do? How does is it in complementary energy with the universal energies? Am I in that flow? Am I doing what I need to do to be in alignment with the universal energies? And that's one of the things that you're learning when you realize, when you begin to, and this is why it's so important to really investigate your North Node sign and house, because that's literally the keys that are going to open up the doors for you, because you're going to become in alignment with the universal energies and what the universe wants for your particular path. And so I think that that's one of the things a lot of you are learning. You're beginning to, even you might not get it the first time. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you're going to fully go from not there to there, but just it's a series of just moving toward that, opening one door after the other, okay, taking the next key, opening that door, and moving down it. And when you do that, you're going to see that as you're moving toward aligning your personal world with the universal world and the collective world, that your life gets better very, very quickly. Now, the two advice cards are interesting. You've got the High Priestess reversed, and you've got the Seven of Pentacles reversed. Now, as I said before about the series of doors and opening up each door, you're not going to just open up one door and then boom, you're done, right? You have to be patient. It's going to be a series of, it's literally like a lifelong thing where you just keep moving forward and you take the next key and the next key and you keep moving forward. But the advice here is to make sure that you are waiting for things to transpire. This is about being patient, waiting for things and being patient. As you do things, allowing yourself to, yes, even make mistakes, for others to make mistakes, allowing yourself to be patient with, waiting for things to develop, okay? Just like a gardener waits for their crops to grow. You just want to be patient with this path, because one of the things with, with your South Node in Leo or the fifth house, it could be very like, it could be like this series of impatience that kind of pops up. Now, the High Priestess reversed is another kind of heads up for you, is that remember that we've talked about a series of doors, right? The High Priestess sits in a doorway, okay, between the black pillar and the white pillar. And so this is about balance. It's about making sure that you don't want to necessarily deny everything of your needs and wants. Okay, you don't want to go to the extreme and just say, okay, I'm going to do whatever the collective wants me to do. It's a series of balancing. Okay, the reason for that is because you are coming in and you bring into this life a lot of gifts that need to be shared with the collective, with others, and that the universe wants you to share. So it's not about, I'm just going to abandon everything that who I am and what my needs are and just become like, this person that just sits in the background. But it's a balance. It's a balance between, as I said, your needs, the needs of the collective and others around you, and the universal energies. And so just keep that in mind, and remember, it's just this kind of series of steps that you take. But remember, it's these three worlds are very, very important for north nodes in Aquarius and or the 11th house. And you're going to see that you're going to find yourself getting a lot of progress in your life. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel that things are flowing better for you. And that feeling is really, really amazing when you kind of tap into that. And all it is just making sure that you're in alignment with the other energies of the universe. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd like to show the channel some love, there's going to be a link in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. See you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Pisces and or the 12th house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you is the Seven of Wands reversed. Now, the Seven of Wands, when it's reversed, it could be this feeling of feeling like not being able to handle a situation, handle a challenge, or feeling like you're on top of things, or feeling like you have the skills necessary to do something. Okay, that could be like the overall kind of feeling, right? And I feel like a lot of you are have been feeling like that. I see this kind of energy where, and this is really your South Node in Virgo, and or the 6th house talking, where it's like that little voice that's saying like, you're not doing enough, you're not enough, you don't have what it takes. Like it's that little kind of self-critic that's inside, and it's like kind of criticizing, everything you're doing and what you're thinking, right? And so this is just something that is ongoing. And the thing about it is that, this is important for you to really overcome in this lifetime, but it's something that always just kind of comes up. Like, it's what is the reason for it? The reason is because the sign of Virgo, in its highest state, or the house of Virgo, which is the sixth house, is the house of perfection. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's like when a person is trying to hone their skills, an artist or a musician or a writer, they're even though perfection might not ever come, they are always striving to be better. Now, that's a healthy, a good thing. But where the obsession could be is constantly feeling like the flip side of that is not feeling good enough, or not feeling like you have what it takes, or that you're doing enough in the world, or whatever. So it's this inner battle, right? That it's something, if you have a North Node in Pisces or the 12th house, it's a lifelong struggle. Okay, it's just how it is. Now, your advice cards will kind of give you some more clarity on this. So you've got the Page of Wands reversed. You've got the Empress card upright, and you've got the King of Cups reversed. Now, what the Page of Wands reversed and the King of Cups are talking about is, they're talking about, this is not referring to people. This is referring to energies that you are dealing with because of the feeling of, I'm not doing enough. I don't have enough. I don't, I'm not perfected as a person. The need for perfection is, as I said, a good thing, but it can become obsessive. Now, how it can play out is, number one, with this Page of Wands, is it could play out, wands are about energy. Okay. And so it can manifest itself as kind of like letting it get to you, and it bringing your energy down, like your energy level. The more, it's like this kind of typical, like, vicious cycle. Like, okay, I'm feeling like I'm not enough. And so what happens to your energy? Then it goes down, and it becomes this. And then the more your energy goes down, you feel like, you're not doing enough or whatever. So it's this cycle. Now, the King of Cups is saying that it's like it can also trigger emotions. It's a misuse of emotions, and because it can, when the energy goes down and then you get into this cycle, it's like you're battling emotions. So the answer here, there's some answers here, but first and foremost, remember this. What you're here to do in this lifetime with your North Node in Pisces is, you are here to take all of the best things from your South Node in Virgo or the sixth house, and you're here to level up. You're here to really dive into the deeper areas of life. Like, for example, think of this. Think of like, you're trying to ascend a staircase, right, in a building, right? And your North Node in Pisces is like, let's say there's 12 floors, and you need to get to the 12th floor. So your North Node in Pisces, or the 12th house, is you need to ascend this staircase. But what can happen with your energy is, you can stay on the lower levels because of energy and emotion, and you feel like you can't make it, or have what it takes. But remember, in this lifetime, what you're here to do is, you're here to ascend, but it's not through hard work. It's not through struggle. It's not through perfectionism. But what you're here is, you're here to ascend to higher realms of consciousness. Okay. And that doesn't necessarily refer to work, structure, routines. I gotta be perfect. Okay. It's about, it actually is like, there's a term that is in Taoism, and it's called Wu Wei. And what the term Wu Wei actually means is, it means accomplishing everything by doing nothing. And this sounds really strange to us in Western cultures. But what it is that what you think of a person that really attains a high level of, spirituality through like meditation and really connecting to their true inner heart, and they're opening their third eye and connecting to universal energies. They're not doing anything, but what they're doing is they're being. One of your big things is to connect to the universal energies. And see, that's what the Empress is saying here, because the Empress has the best parts of Virgo. You could see that she's sitting here, in the middle of this wheat field, right? She's got these luxurious robes. She's sitting in her power, but she's not doing anything. She didn't get to this state because of work. You've already done that, you've already done that in past lives. You're here to, what the work you have to do is to connect to your higher self, to higher consciousness. And it's hard, because when we're constantly saying like, I'm not enough, I have to do more, it can keep you in the lower floors of that building, right? So the way you climb up, we're going to get into right now, to stand in your power. So two ways. So you've got the Knight of Swords as one of your advice cards, and you've got the Six of Pentacles. Okay. One of the ways that you can ascend is, this card is referring to, yes, it's a card of charity, and it's a card of giving, and it's a card of, taking care of people. But you are both people on this card. You are both the giver and the receiver. You're not one or the other. Meaning that as the receiver, you have to allow yourself to receive the gifts, your natural gifts of the universe, or gifts from others that come in, not feel guilty about it. You deserve what's coming in for you. You have to be able to receive it and feel worthy for it, right? But you are also the giver, because what you can do is you can give back. How do you give back? Well, you have the ability to, in small ways, things, you say and do. You're a natural, healer. Just being a person in the world that's not bringing chaos, that's bringing, you are bringing serenity. There's something to be said where, I think it was Eckhart Tolle talked about this, where, there's people that do, quote unquote, do a lot, right? But they also bring a lot of stress and chaos to the world. And there's other people with just them being in the world, and their energy source is a source that is calming, and it's an energy that we need more of in this world. And that's what this is saying. You are the giver and the receiver of gifts and energy, but you have to allow yourself to receive, which means not feeling like you're not good enough or worthy enough for things, okay? So that's one of the things that you could struggle with. And this Knight of Swords is saying that, knights are all cards of movement, but swords has to do with, intellect and communication. So what this is saying is, the work that you really need to do, okay, in taking action, is really through directing your mind and your communication. Okay. In other words, and your energy too, right? So what I mean by that is that where that energy that you have built up, you're like, okay, I'm not doing enough. How do I direct it? You need to direct it in a positive direction, which is, your intellect, your mind, put it into something, okay? But that something is going to help, because that energy has to go somewhere, right? And this is going to help you kind of ascend to higher levels. Remember, the swords rule the element of air. You are here to ascend in this lifetime. You're here to be going to the depths of the bottom of the ocean, Neptune. But remember also, your north node is not only ruled by, Neptune, but it's all of the watery depths of everything that has to do with the element of water, right? But at the same time, the element of air is helping you to ascend to these higher levels. So essentially what this is that you need to stop this inner self-critic. You need to stop the feeling like you're not good enough or you're not doing enough. And what you have to do is remember what you're here to do is ascend to higher levels of consciousness, okay? You're here to be a force on this planet, in the world, through your energy, through any help that you can give. The Six of Pentacles is also saying, give back where you can, okay? And that's how you can kind of ascend to these higher levels. It's a very tricky north node, okay? But you find that when you kind of do that, first step is shutting off that inner critic, feeling like you're worthy and you're good enough, and then using that energy that's left over into more, positive, means. And this is what's helping you kind of step into your power, the Empress here. So anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd like to show the channel some love, there's going to be a link in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. See you on some more videos. Many blessings.